Dan Matheny. The boot up that you just saw is a pure Archlinux. No Archlinux, no Archbang, none of that. I decided to install everything to take my mind off of things around Friday night. And it had taken me about, since I was a noob again, since I had messed with Arch since 2013, 2012, something of that nature. I had messed around with Archbang and I used that for a while. And Systemd is pretty much what's the forefront now with a lot of operating systems. And same with Archlinux. I don't know if I'm going to include documentation, but you need to set up the sound and you need to set up mounting for hard drives because it's not going to be done automatically, and you need to install the components for your network with the installer because it may include the wireless connection on the boot and tools that you need to get on, but those tools were not installed. I mean, there are probably network tools installed, but like I said, I'm still relearning everything again. I'll just show you what the desktop looks like. That's what it looks like without it. Yep, I got simple screen recorder, cheese, and my file manager open. Alright, let's just see what it all looks like. So I'm running everything at 714 megabytes. When it boots up, it's not even 300 megabytes booted. I wanted everything configured my way, and usually I don't have any problems. I'll just go ahead and show my directory. With the exinit rc, I have everything started before IceWM starts. Now with the code to activate the startup file, that does not work with the new installation, and I'm going to say that because I did that. I did the touch, .IceWM /startup, and that did not work. And the chmod x plus, the directory to where IceWM starts up. The reason why I'm doing this video is because of how impressed I am with how this is all running. It runs very snappy. Without the simple screen recorder and without everything running, it's only about under 300 megabytes. When I have just CMonkey booted up, I went with CMonkey. It will only be 700 megabytes, just like now. I think that's awesome. Now, like I said, you're gonna have to configure everything. It's not just done. It's not just done at all. It's not just done out of the box like Debian or like Ubuntu. And I was using Ubuntu Server 2010. I do like it. The error messages aren't really error messages because I played around with it. I used IceWM and I installed it from the website. And the trick is installing the dependencies first. But with this, I don't have to do any of that because I'm running IceWM 1.9.1, I think. We'll just open up a terminal and see right quick. I'll just click on it. Even though I don't have to do that, I can do it another way. Usually I can escape, so I can go ahead and do that. Usually that works, but we'll just run Terminator. So basically, I lost my train of thought. When you're configuring everything, it's not all going to be done automatically. I forget what I had the Terminator on for. Because there's just a lot going on around me. You have to configure everything from after the install. Like you have Network Manager, you have GVFS, you have a lot of different services you need to enable after the install. But making sure that you have the extra network tools installed is going to help you, because that is going to get you on track. Now, when you install, you're going to have different options that you can choose from the Arch Wiki to set up your network for the install. But after the install's over, after you do everything, you go through the steps, you go through fdisk, you go through making the file systems and mounting the drives, then installing everything, you're going to have to install some extra packages so that you can get started. That's what I had to do. I'm sure there's something I didn't do right on my end for that. I really do think that this is an awesome operating system, and I actually missed it, because I miss how fast everything ran, and everything's really smooth in Arch. Things will break, but it's a little different now with System D, and there's a lot of people that don't like it, and I understand why they don't like it, but I like it just for the simple fact it just works. Because it's a little bit more resources you're using for it. I get it. Alright, but I was actually getting to my what I was talking about with Ubuntu 2010. Now, there's errors that pop up when you're installing the XFCE for desktop without installing Xubuntu when you're running from the command line to boot up, when you're typing in your username and your password when you make that script. Now, the difference is with the bash profile, which I'll show, with Debian or Ubuntu, you only have to write startx, but with this I had to put in this little code for that to happen. And there's a lot of different ways you could do it. I'm not going to go into all those things because there's tons of documentation for Arch Linux. There's tons of it. Now, yes, I installed the vanilla Arch and configured everything the way I wanted it, because I like the vanilla. If I had an operating system, it'd be vanilla ice cream OS, and I would just have this basic setup just to get started, because you have your keys and you have everything that you need for it to work. I can unmount the camera because I don't need it, but that's a good example. I got my camera right here that I just pulled everything off of, which you saw in the beginning of me recording, so because I had to get those files off. Now, on mass storage mode, I have to allow the camera, so it'll eventually pop back up. Now, that's the different mounting services that you have to install in there, but there's documentation for that. You're not just left in the dark. There's tons of documentation for Arch Linux, and I think that Arch Linux is great because you can learn. I'm gonna close my camera. You can learn how it all works through the directories and everything. And I knew about the directories before, and I got to the point where I can slow down and just take my time reading everything and following everything. And it all makes sense to me. It all does. Now, I could take another video and, I can move this around, but I could have taken a normal video. But anyway, the point is with this operating system, it's a good ground for learning, but it also is a rolling release, which means I don't have to install I don't have to back up data and then reinstall the operating system if I don't want to. Now, you may want to do that after a couple years of using your operating system, just so you can have a clean slate, because there's stuff you haven't used, yada yada. But anyway, the point is you have to set up everything. It's not just going to all work out of the box. The network's not just going to work out of the box. And I had my network plugged in because I really wanted it to work after the install. But I thought the wireless tool would be there, but it wasn't. After I installed it, that had to be installed. It's IPW, and the command is IPWCTL for starting the service, but you can do the same thing with CM or NM CLI. Probably didn't say it right, but that's with the network manager to enable network service for your network. I mean, basically, I got that command memorized because of working with the network manager for a long time. It's, system CTL start network manager, and it's capital N E T W, or capital W O R K, or actually it's a capital N and then the capital M for manager. So network manager with a capital N and capital M. So system control start network manager, system control enable network manager, so that you're able to use it, whether you're using wireless or wired. I installed everything wirelessly, and it worked great. It worked great. The reason why I'm talking about it is because it all does work. You just have to take the time to read the instructions. There's tons and tons of documentation. I don't think I'm going to post any links down because there's no point to. But my recommends are: do your reading on your sound to make it faster. Do your reading on your sound on the Arch documentation. And you can Google, how to set up sound on Archlinux, because for me, it didn't work out of the box. Even though I installed Pulse Audio, I installed ALSA Utilities, ALSA Mixer. I installed all that. ALSA Mixer, I think, is a part of ALSA Utilities. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff I did. And I can't remember everything I did. So I will probably do it again on my Mac. Now, it's going to be harder, but I know what the driver is for the wireless and for the wired, because I'm going to have to set all that up on the Mac when I get the chance, just to learn again on how it all works. And I think that's a good idea. Now, for volume, I just do this, I just have this if I want to control the volume, and that's that. I don't even have a volume icon. I just have X screensaver for the display and the network manager applet. That's it. Even though I know the command line better now, but I grew up with the command line, so it's not anything new to me. Again, what you see behind me is the animals right there. This is snakes, in case you guys are wondering. But yeah, I'm very happy with it. I'm rambling a lot, but today is like a special anniversary, so I felt a sense of accomplishment. I felt like I had to make this video to say that it is possible to run Archlinux. But basically, my components are basic, just PCManFM -- desktop to run the desktop and the icons, and IceWM Maker. That's basically it, and it all works great. It all does. It all works out of the box. I know my icons are funny, and all this is different, with the theme, but this is what I like. You can do whatever you want. You don't even have to have IceWM Maker. You could just have the basic component exec, and then exec start Fluxbox if you like Fluxbox. I just like IceWM Maker because it's still in development, and I just like it because it's easy for family to use if they just want to point and click. And I'm still learning about certain things like keys, and I'm watching all the Linux guys and just listening to their videos, and they have the right way of doing things. But I'm just trying to think what else I need to add to this. But yeah, with the install, you gotta make sure you install your network stuff. It's not included in the wiki, and you need to install mounting services and sound services once you get up and running, but make sure you have that network manager installed, because if you're still on the noob side like I am, even though I have 20 years experience, and I used to, I'm getting to the point where I was 20 years ago, where I was like learning, and I was like, I was 20 years old and I was learning, and it was really fun, and I was really getting the swing of things because I grew up with a Tandy 1000 with a command line, and I was used to that. Even though I got used to a GUI, and in some ways I still, just cater to the GUI, with certain programs, because of what I have to use. That's really all I have to add. I think you should give it a shot. If I had a vanilla ice cream OS, I would use all the different operating systems because everyone wants to do something different. Some people want to make a server, but you could use Arch for anything, really. You can use Arch for a normal desktop. You can make a server out of it because it's your basic vanilla. It's your basic install, and then you have to install and configure everything. It's not configured out of the box. But that's why I showed the video in the beginning, because Arco Linux and all that is pretty much very similar to Arch. I mean, I just wanted to show it for credibility. But it can be done. You're just going to have to read. You're going to have to do your homework, and you should read beforehand. I probably was thinking about it for a while because I was playing around with different distros, different options, just because I like doing that. But this is my favorite. This right here, what you see on the desktop, is my favorite. Because I don't like a lot of stuff being in my way. I want to just do what I got to do, and that's it. I was talking about errors on the Ubuntu server if you install certain desktops. Now, maybe you won't have the same problem with LXDE, but I noticed with XFCE4, since it's a part of the Xubuntu install, it looks for errors when you install just the desktop and you just start it with Xinit. So that's what I've learned from that experience. I do think it's a great operating system, and I wouldn't mind making my own thing, but I think my next goal is to learn more about how scripting works with Bash and with everything, and I'm still new, I'm still learning. So, just another bozo on the bus, just another clown on the merry-go-round, just another ham riding on the lamb. I'm really trying to figure out what to add, because there's a lot of stuff. Now, with doing the yay, there's different, AUR helpers, yay, yowart, and all that, but, I'm using TK Pac-Man as my front GUI just because I love Synaptic. I'm a big Synaptic fan, and I just love the simple way of just looking at my packages through the letters. And some people like having those pictures, but I like having those letters, and I'm just going to run it through the normal desktop, so I don't feel like entering my password right now. But we'll just boot it up. Yeah, it shows everything just like Synaptic does. So I found TK Pac-Man, and it's still in development, but it's not being developed on as much. And you're gonna explore a lot of different packages if you do decide to do the install. The browser I originally wanted was Pale Moon, and I was trying to install it, but there was problems with the compiler. There was one program I got to work that I really wanted, but I had to get the GPG key, and I knew that, but I was trying to figure out where the GPG key was, and I finally did. But that's because, you slow yourself down, you're able to read through everything and then do it. And then there are other times where it's like, all right, I want to get this, I want to install it. But you have to teach yourself, slow down, and read slowly through everything so that you can grasp it. Take the time to grasp what you're learning. And you'll be rewarded for that. And I'm not very smart. I'm just sharing my own experience. Okay, and a lot of it was how I grew up. I don't think this judges how smart you are, because you could basically, someone that has the intelligence of only 75 could do this. I'm saying IQ of only 75 could do this if they go through the steps. But that's just my tidbit, because I just feel like this isn't really hard. It's just different. But it's how I grew up. Now, a lot of people just grew up on the point and click. Especially the millennials and the younger people. They grew up with that, and that's what's interesting about this. Okay, they all grew up with that, and I grew up basically in the 80s. I remember the 80s and the 90s. Okay, so it was totally different 30 years ago, and a lot of things I can't even keep up with, or I don't understand. But this I understand, and I had some understanding of it before. Even 10 years ago, I was using the command line to install and configure. And you kind of do have to learn how to do certain things. It does help to learn through the command line. Now with Manjaro, you don't have to. You know, it will just install. Okay, if you're new, and that may help you better. But I think installing Arch, just the Arch, and configuring it is more rewarding, because you install what you want instead of all these extra packages. I didn't want Firefox. I don't have anything against Firefox, but I love the Gecko-based web browsers, but I'd rather have SeaMonkey over Firefox. And I don't even have to use Thunderbird, but I like Thunderbird. I could use the email component in SeaMonkey and be fine. And I know SeaMonkey's on the outdated end, but it does have excellent security features, and it's an excellent web browser. Google Chrome's for the family, but I'll use it. You know, I'll use it. I know this has been a long video, but I just wanted to cover a lot of things, you know, because this is a wide array. This isn't just like a little topic. This is a big, big thing. You know, for programs to work and stuff, you really have to, and for your hardware to work, you're really going to have to do your reading, and you're really going to have to go through each step carefully, and you can break something. Okay, then you have to start over, and hey, it is what it is. It's all a learning experience. Will I keep this? I'm pretty sure I am, but I mean, anything can change. You know, you could have some weird distro or weird new version of Linux that's come out that everybody wants to play around with. So I mean, there's always a possibility in that, but I'm pretty satisfied with this, and I never thought I'd be this satisfied with the system. I mean, I do like Debian, and I do like Ubuntu, and I think Debian, I mean, to me, the best operating systems are Debian and Arch. I mean, FreeBSD is around that. FreeBSD, Debian, and Arch are the main operating systems. I mean, Gentoo I like, and Slack I like, you know, and they're all great. All of them are great. But anyway, that is my cue. So I think I'm going to get going, because I got a lot I got to do today. But anyway, I hope you all have a great day. And thank you for listening. Flap my gums. Arch Linux may be my new favorite distro. I'm still learning. It changes every day. So it is what it is. I hope you guys have a good Sunday. See ya.
This has been a Dan Matheny production. Thanks for watching.